Good evening and good morning, everyone. I don't know where you are right now, but I am very honored and fortunate today to be joined by three wonderful ladies that I really, really appreciate. Um, I'd like to introduce them to you this afternoon. There's Alayne Law. Alayne is a very close friend, and she's a mom of two and also a businesswoman and entrepreneur. I also have Iah from Davao City. She's a mom of three, also an entrepreneur, as well as Michelle, mom of two, and also an entrepreneur. And today we would like to discuss how it feels to be like a mom at the time of the pandemic. I know all moms are there reaching out to friends, being a plantita, and pretty much everything that they do just to, I don't know, probably buy time and probably make sense out of what's happening. And this afternoon, and this evening, wherever you may be, I will be joined by three wonderful women to discuss more about this. Hello, Alayne. Hi, Michelle, and hi,
Hi.
Ian.
Hi.
Hello.
Good evening. Good
Good
I'll
afternoon.
start.
evening.
Good evening. I'll start with Alayne. Probably Alayne would like to introduce yourself to everyone.
Oh, hi everybody. I'm Alayne. I'm a mom of two. My daughter is 9 and my son is 5. Uh, I'm married to Brian Law, my husband. We've been married for 10 years already. And I work in our family business. So we are in the real estate, focusing on development and leasing.
Thank you, Alayne. And thank you for joining us today. Michelle.
Hi, Polly. Hello, Alayne. Hi, Ia.
Hi.
Hi,
Hi.
everybody. I am Michelle, and I am also a mother. I have two children, two boys, a 13-year-old and a 9-year-old. And I am a teacher as well. I co run a preschool, and I've been doing it for the past 22 years. And
Wow.
just like Ia and Polly, I am a certified sacred space holder and a well-being boost program facilitator as well.
Thank you, Michelle. 22 years. Wow.
Thank you, Polly. Yeah.
Iya.
Nakahalata ang age.
Hindi, hindi. Not at all. How about Iya?
Hi, everyone. Hi, Alayne. Hi, Michelle. So, I'm Iya.
Hello.
I'm a mom of three. So, they are 8, 6, and 2. Almost 3 na para si Clara. Clara is celebrating her birthday next week. So, may toddler na talaga ako. So, I'm a business owner and ano pa ba? I'm a wife, of course. I'm a happy wife. My husband kasi is watching. So, sabihin natin happy. Pero,
Sige,
hindi,
Mina
happy
rin.
naman talaga. So, there. We've been married for almost 10 years na. So, there. Hello, everyone. And like Michelle and Polly, I'm also a certified sacred space holder. And Michelle is my classmate. We're, sa Wellbeing Boost program na facilitator also.
Right. So Iya and Michelle are practically, we call each other Care Bears. Alayne naman is like my sister from another mother. We've been friends for like 12 years or so. But anyway, enough of the introduction because I have a lot of questions to ask you, moms, about how are you dealing with this pandemic? I know that it just happened and nobody really gave us a template of what to expect in the pandemic. And as a mom, you're holding your family together, right? You have your kids at home, they're not going to school, they're asking you for math equations that you probably have forgotten already. I myself have been like, I don't understand algebra, don't ask me. And all of these at the same time, you have things to do at home, like cooking, doing the, I don't know if you even do your dishes, but managing the household is a tough one. So I'll probably start with Michelle. How are you and your family, Michelle?
Well, I would say almost a year into the pandemic, we're much better than when we started.
Mm.
I think everybody went through that whole honeymoon stage of the pandemic where the
Yes.
lockdown was, diba? It was a welcome break to be home with everybody 24/7. So you try to do everything, cook the best meals, you know, keep house as best as you could, plan all these activities, play board games. Then the honeymoon kind of wanes and then reality sets in. So, but definitely much better than we were last year.
No, that's great. So you mentioned about the honeymoon phase.
Ah,
Mm-hmm.
may
Did you
baby.
experience? Did you
Oy,
experience
wala, wala.
honeymoon phase? Honeymoon phase while in the pandemic. Hindi naman the romantic honeymoon, but honeymoon of the pandemic, no?
No, you know that feeling where all of a sudden you're working from home,
Yeah,
you're studying from
Yes.
home,
you're
everybody's
connected.
home.
Hmm.
Yeah, there's no traffic. Everybody's
Mm.
kind of trying to make the most out of being together. So
Definitely.
I would
Yeah.
say that was the first 2 months, 3 months of the lockdown. You know, where you're, and then when the reality sets in that this is for the long haul, then all the fears start setting in, and then there's the business you have to take care of because we run a school.
Right.
So, all of that. And then, of course, aside from everything else you have to do and take care of, there's all these emotions you have inside, which you kind of have to keep in check because you have to be the cool one and the one who has it together and
Mm.
pretty much the one who has a plan for
The one
how
who
everyone's
has
going to
the
get
one
through
who
this.
probably has all the answers because the
Mhm.
kids will be
Yeah.
asking about, making sense of what's happening.
Yeah.
So for in Cebu, Alayne, because Iya is in Davao, so this is like the great representation of the Philippines. Iya in Davao, Michelle in Luzon, and then Alayne in Cebu, in Central Visayas. How is it in Cebu, Alayne, when it comes to, I don't know, like, does your kids ask about, Mom, what's happening? And what is this? And when will it gonna end?
Yeah, well, at first they didn't understand what was happening. During the first stages of the pandemic, it was like a mini vacation for us.
Honey,
Like mom and dad is home
Are
24
you
hours.
ano,
We get to spend
interviewanta?
time together. So they didn't really feel
mm-hmm.
what's happening around until we had this routine. We go out every weekend. So they started asking questions like, what's happening? Why aren't we going out? So that's when we started, okay, I think this is going to be for the long haul. So we started explaining. And of course, it's hard to explain to, especially Jared then at 4 years old. Yeah, but
They ask
eventually,
a lot of questions.
yeah, they do. Kids.
They
Why?
do.
Why? Yes.
And that's it.
Never
That's a huge question there, I think, for the kids. Because that's also like personally, that's also one thing that I don't want them to remember this pandemic for, that it was something traumatizing. As
Yes.
much as we want as parents,
Yes.
we just want to shield them
Mhm.
from, from bad memories. So, Iya, when your kids started noticing the shift of the normal life, like, oops, I think we're at home for like 3 months now, Mom. What's up? What's happening? What did you
Actually,
do? How did you manage
with
that?
my kids, kasi hindi naman kami yung pala labas. Like
Okay.
sometimes lang. So usually the routine is just school and then house and then with my eldest sometimes with therapy sa speech. So ganun lang. So at first, yung nga parang like what they mentioned, parang honeymoon, parang vacation siya na stage. So masaya lang. And then we're just wondering na parang when are we going back to school? Yun talaga yung pinaka-question nila eh. Kasi they are so used to that routine na. Parang when can we see our friends? How come we are just talking to them sa computer? Yung mga ganon. So that's when we were trying to parang explain to them what is happening. And of
Mhm.
course, the word pandemic is big eh. Parang hindi
Yes.
pa nila mag-get. So That time, Nathan was 7. So, 7, 5, and 2. So, ang hirap i-explain what a pandemic is. So, we really have to show them pictures. Yung parang naging storytelling siya.
Ah, okay.
And then, ewan ko ako nasobrahan kami. Kasi natakot talaga sila. Even up to
Oh.
now, parang the first, kasi nung medyo lumuwag-luwag na, di ba, na parang we can go out slowly. As here kasi in Davao, we have the FM pass na like,
Mhm.
with me, I can only go out PPHS.
Mhm.
So, the first time that we went out, kami ng husband ko, parang, where are you going? There's a virus. Yung mga, the mayor will get angry. Parang you stay home. Parang ganun talaga. Nasobrahan yata tayo ng don't go out. Mga ganun. So, pero I think we are
Nasobrahan ng
enjoying.
awareness.
Oo,
Too much
nasobrahan siya ng
awareness.
awareness. So, parang sabi ko, tama pa ba yung mga pinagsasabi natin? Kasi we really, medyo morbid. Pero tinakot namin sila na, people are dying. Parang kasi that's the reality, di ba? And then, kasi pinaka-treat sa kanila yung Sunday na we go to Crocodile Park. Parang it's an open field here na open for everyone. So, dun sila pwedeng mag-bike, mag-scooter, kasi we don't have the space here sa bahay.
Right.
So, sila yung parang, where can we go? We cannot go nga. Parang we just need to stay at home. So, nung una happy sila, especially with my husband kasi daddy's just home lang always. Ganyan. So, parang nag-enjoy naman sila. Pero
Yeah,
andun lang yung parang may, like yesterday, my friend visited me. Why is Tito Nico coming here? Di ba there's the virus? Why is he going out? Parang ganun yan talaga yung mga... like, kung he's just going to give me a plant. O, di ba plantita na rin ako. So, hindi, Tito Nico is giving me a plant. That's why. But this virus, the mayor might get angry. Parang nandun talaga sa kanila na lagi na, bawal lumabas.
So it seems like they are aware of what's happening outside. Alayne
Yes.
mentioned it as the kids were Jared was asking, and if you have a curious 4-year-old boy, that curious 4-year-old boy will not really stop asking the whys and the hows. So I want to understand. Say for example, like 10 years from now, you think this is not an MMK moment, but I just want you to go through this event, and probably 10 years from now you might be asking this question too. But I'll probably ask this question: how do you think your kids will remember this pandemic? I'll start with Michelle.
I think my older son will remember it as a time when the rules were a lot less stringent. You can shower whenever you want to, and it's because he's a teenager, he's 13. But I think we always remind them, we always tell them, you know what, when you're much older, you're going to look back at today because this is part of history, and you'll
Mm-mm.
remember that it's a time when we were all home and we studied from home and we all did everything online. I think they'll remember the emotions as well. So my husband likes to tell my son that even when he got swabbed for the first time, he said, this is history for you. It's I think that's what we want to highlight, especially to our older one, is that it's a time for us to really connect with each other. And I tell that to our parents as well, especially those who are having a hard time homeschooling and teaching the children at home. Because you'll never be able to turn back the clock and bring back this time in my son's life. So
Mhm.
I can honestly say that we spent I hope just 2 school years together like this, where I can really watch him grow and be and just thrive and deal with his fears also. So it's there's a blessing in all of it, which we like to dwell on. So
And
that's the good
that's a
thing.
silver lining, right? Like
Yeah.
hoping that 10
Yes.
years from now they will probably remember the beautiful things that happened while being cocooned with the family at home
Hmm.
for like the longest time that they can remember. How about Alayne? How do you think your kids will remember this?
Well, as you know, my husband travels for work. So
Mm.
for the kids, this would be memorable in that sense that daddy is home all the time for
Yes.
a full year or maybe more. We don't know. hopefully not. And I agree with Michelle with the less stringent rules.
Mm-hmm.
So for us, it would be gadget time because I usually try to control gadget time.
Yeah.
So, of course, with the pandemic, it's their only way to communicate with their cousins, their
Mm-hmm.
friends. They play online games because they can't play physically. So, in a good way, I think they will remember it as a time for family bonding, quality time, and quantity time, both.
I love that. Quantity
Yes.
time, quality
Yeah,
time.
because with Jared, he's still too I think he's still too young to remember everything. So I think
Mm,
Beta, which she is
mm,
already 9 right now, so I think I think that would be it, the good
mm.
side, because I see them they still have fun because of course being a mom, we try to give them a lot of activities to
Right.
distract them. Yeah,
Right. And to keep them entertained too, because at the end of the day, you might be
we
doing
have
something
to.
else because you're running a business and just wanna maximize the time that you have. And how about Ia? How does that look like to you? Because I know you have like managing a business and you have like three wonderful kids, and at this age they really require and they really will demand for attention. Like,
Yes.
mom, look at me, mom, I'm doing this. Look at me, be
Yes.
part of
For
this.
1 million times.
How are you as a mom? How are you as a mom? I don't know, like how are you trying to recharge yourself at the end of a very, I would say, hectic day, really? How do you recharge?
Ah, magkukulong ako sa banyo. Yun talaga.
Oh, don't they
Yung
knock?
parang,
Mom, where are you?
but, pero ano na to, late at night, like when they're sleeping already. Parang that's the time na, buti na lang my husband understands that also. So sometimes he surprises me with yung bubble bath, so para mag-recharge. But usually, like after all the good night, the prayers, ganyan. So, alam na ng asawa ko yan, mauuna na siyang mag-prepare for sleep. And then, kasi
Mhm.
alam niya, pag ako na, matagal akong lalabas. So, parang feeling ko doon yung comfort ko in a way, na ako lang
Right.
mag-isa, it's quiet, parang
Mm.
I can scan through my Facebook na walang istorbo, I can check my emails nang walang walang ganon, yung parang it's just quiet lang. So, favorite place ko na yung bahay.
So your favorite place is the banyo, the toilet.
Yes, as
And that's
in.
that's
Tapos
when
I
you
can
can really
read. I bring
reflect.
my Kindle, tapos I
Yes.
read there, parang uninterrupted. Kasi when sa kama, si Clara kasi is, all of them are sleeping with us most of the time. So, konting galaw, pag andyan ako, talagang nakamagnet na siya sa akin. So,
Right.
I really maximize my time sa banyo na without doing anything. So, nakaupo lang talaga ako. And then I will just read and scan. And then parang okay na ako afternoon eh.
You mentioned the word banyo because I think one year or another we had those moments too. But
Yes.
no, we
Parang
don't really
Yep.
have a
banyo,
private moment with the
banyo.
kids. But I'm also wondering if our watchers, because we currently have watchers, amazing. We have, I just want to say hello to them, and probably they can I don't know, tell their wives or tell themselves that if you want a quiet time, just go to your banyo and just read and just have Kindle or read a book. So I want to say good evening to Martin Lichauco. I have Carla Reyes as well with us. Yona, all the way from Australia. Hi, Yona. I'm not sure what time is it there. So like early morning. Hi, Yona. I have your husband, Ia. That's why it's best to say I'm a very, very happy wife because her is with us. I
Hi!
also have Mercedes Camacho
Hi,
Peterson,
Mercedes!
our chef. Right, she
Yes.
cooks really
Yes.
well. And Mafe is saying, "Happy wife, happy life."
Yes!
Yes,
Yes.
Very true. Very true.
this is like after this. I would expect the husbands would say, "Polly, like on the next episode, we will be paying you for this." please do a show for us as well, just to make sure that there's a balance in the discussion. And I have Maricar Desilia de Ocampo. Hello, I have Violex with us. And I just want to probably ask the viewers if you have any questions for our lovely ladies tonight. Please do ask those questions now so that we can ask them. Now, just to move to something lighter, because I know, again, I mentioned before, I don't want you guys weeping at the end of the show because of the pandemic
No,
and the reflections. Yeah,
no.
I
No,
want
please
to
don't.
know. This is like the interesting part. I want to know, and every time this is true to you, I just want you to do this with your right hand.
Right hand.
Just
Okay.
shake your right hand, saying that okay, that's me. I became a plantita.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Alayne, no,
Wait,
right?
wait,
Because
wait.
the,
I tried, but they all died. But she
so
tried. She tried.
yeah, she tried. That's a good. So I would say Michelle, Iah, we're talking about being a plantita. You can see plants inside. So how did that? I mean, is that something that you have been doing in the past, and you're just bringing the plant indoors now because of the pandemic, or it's just like a newly discovered, I don't know, hobby? Michelle.
I could never make anything survive before the pandemic. Everything would die. Everything. But but I think you'll all agree with me in the beginning when we still didn't have the food threads and we still didn't know where to get our vegetables or our meat or anything like that. And we were also scared to go out. I went through this mother hunter gatherer panic where we need to plant our vegetables. That feeling where we need to be self
Yes.
sustaining. And I think my husband must have thought I was crazy because we were planting everything from sile to, like we were really at war. So I think it was more for me for that that feeling inside where I knew we have something to eat and we didn't have the pressure of having to go out. But later on, it became when I realized, you could still get sources and it started to get easier. It started to become who was I to think I could plant all our food, right? But it started to become a hobby for me, and it was a reminder to pause during the day because I had to go water them and I had to go.
Mm.
So surprisingly, I was able to propagate from mother plants. I could
Wow.
from somebody who actually couldn't make. So I that's my metaphor for I think on the serious side, that's when the fact that I could make plants survive was my metaphor for, and to this day I know that I'm okay if I am able to take care of the plants I have and actually have them survive. That means I'm taking the time to pause and I'm taking the time to nurture them and I'm taking the time to water them. So that's my symbolic thing for the plants.
It's refreshing that, like the shift from just planting because of a need to planting it,
Mhm.
it became something of like a form of like a habit, and eventually finding something beautiful there where you can pause. Like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, because it's intentional now that you're watering and you're reflecting that, okay, I'm happy that am able to have that pause, that needed pause. So I think Michelle
Mhm.
will not be in the toilet, Ia. I'm sorry. I think she will be like watering the plants instead of reading Kindle. So Michelle naman has a different strategy. You can find her in the garden and she's fine. Okay. So next, again, you can just shake your right hand. I became an oil bulario. I don't know how to say it, but oil bulario. Anyone? Okay,
Wait, what
Alayne.
if you what
Yes,
if
go
you
ahead,
were
Michelle.
one way before
Yeah,
what
one
if you
way
were one
before.
way before the pandemic?
Oh,
Yes.
has it subsided? Has it waned during the pandemic,
No,
or
no,
no? But
no,
still
no.
continue.
Same lang, yes.
Yes.
So pretty much everybody's the same. But Aline, this is like something new to you.
Yes, it is. Of course, during the pandemic, you have to look for healthier ways, to address this pandemic. So I tried and I didn't look back. I'm
Yes.
actually diffusing right now. Hello.
Yeah, can you hear us?
Yes.
There. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So tell us more about, because now I know Alayne is an entrepreneur, but this branched into something wonderful, right? From just being interested with oils, now making a business out of these oils. Tell us more about that. That's exciting.
Well, my business is more on the accessories for these oils. So,
Mm.
during the pandemic, I noticed that there are very few suppliers here in Cebu. So we started to look for suppliers for the bottles and all those roller bottles, the spray ones. And surprisingly, it's doing good. So that's my side business during the pandemic.
Entrepreneur in spirit, right? Whatever happens, whatever war that's happening outside, you can always
Yes.
probably just do something. Okay. And I
Mhm.
just want to read Eloy. Eloy said, Eloy Kaluwag said, Oil Bularius rule.
Yes.
So, Aline, I think
Yes.
you have an ally in Eloy Kaluwag. Eloy, we're with you. We Oilbulari's rule. And Martin said wonderful here, a wonderful statement from him. I think a lot of us had to get out of our comfort zones. We all had to find our own sacred space. Thank you. Outside of our own boundaries and safe zones with the new norm of living. Wow, that's a lot to take in. But I just want to say it's amazing how we have discovered and rediscovered some parts and segments of ourselves, which
Oh,
leads me to the
yes.
next question, really. What are those parts and segments, whichever you feel like sharing? Okay. What are those parts and segments that you have discovered, rediscovered about yourself? I'll probably start with Ia.
I rediscovered siguro may pero it stopped na kasi eh. Kasi I was baking before. Before I became a business owner talaga. My parang sideline was to bake cupcakes. And then during the pandemic, since yung parang alam mo yung feeling na natataranta ka kasi the business, you don't know what will happen to the business. So parang as much as possible, you want to keep it afloat, right? Parang yun yung
Mm.
pinaka-concern before. So parang I was baking like crazy. And then I was selling like crazy. Parang, iniisip ko, pang dagdag sa sweldo. Yung mga ganun na,
Mm.
so siguro yun. And then, I also learned from our class kasi, surprisingly, kahit na ganito yung nangyari, last year, 2020, pero it was a year of growth for me eh. So, doon ako nagulat na, okay, kung kailan tuloy we're in a pandemic, dyan pa parang, yun, like the sacred space na na training natin. So, parang doon pa siya nangyari. So, I think it's that. Parang more on giving myself the time and the love. Parang, parang yun. Parang hindi pala kailangan mag-guilty when you put yourself first. Parang yun
Mhm.
siguro yung pinaka takeaway ko doon. Na
Yeah, and I think everybody can learn from that now too, of really not being guilty of taking care of yourself and reaching
Mhm.
out. Reaching out is okay.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
don't have to go on
Mm.
downhill
Kasi di ba
before
parang
you
as
reach out.
tayo mga Pinay, di ba? Parang laging the training was to always put your family first and then
Right.
Mm.
parang they will make you feel
Mm.
guilty if maganda
Yes.
ka. Parang ganyan. Parang gano'n na parang, ba't siya lang? Bakit ang ayos-ayos niya? Parang hindi niya inaalaga. Yung parang, di ba, we have that
Mm.
mga
Mhm.
ugali na gano'n eh. So, parang nadala ko yon when I became a mom. Na parang dapat sila muna, ganyan, bahala, itsura mo, kung para ka ng
Mhm.
basta sila, yung parang martyr ka na mama, parang
Right.
gano'n. Then I realized na parang, pwede naman pala ako magpaganda pa rin, kahit na parang maayos sila, pero maayos din ako. Parang,
True.
parang gano'n. I really don't have to feel guilty about it anymore. Because before, pagka yun kahit nga yung simpleng manicure lang, pedicure, parang nagigilty ka pang sabihin sa mga friends mo na, ay, I'm having my me
Mm.
time. Kasi
Mm.
parang feeling ko
Mm.
isipin nila na, ay, iniwan na naman yung mga anak. Yung parang mga ganon.
Oo.
But, di ba parang may ganyan kasi na ugali ang Pinoy. Sad to say. Pero
Mm.
at least ngayon, medyo natanggap ko na I really have to take care of myself para I can take care of them also. Better.
No, that's beautiful.
Mm.
And as for Michelle, because like in the process of discovering, rediscovering portions and segments of ourselves that were lost probably along the
Mm.
way, or that got lost along the way, was that something? Was it something confrontational to you, or was that something light? Was it something sweet, syrupy? How was that like?
Polly, for me, I think it was a combination of so many strong feelings. And when you
Mm,
say confrontational, somehow I agree with it because
mm,
um, I was beset with so much anxiety last year, really, really anxious.
mm,
And mental health is a very big part of me,
yes.
altogether. It's something that I value. So, I think I always thought I had it together, that I had everything under
Mm,
control. So it was
mm,
very humbling to actually experience that. And I've always been the one to actually to help somebody who's depressed or anxious, but to actually feel it myself was very humbling. So I think when you say confrontational, it resonated with me because for me it was very powerful. But I think that in itself allowed me to revisit or reparent parts of
mm,
me that I had forgotten because I was parenting the children. Many
mm,
times I feel I'm parenting my husband. So
mm,
it's
mhm,
so
mhm,
so I think that we've been married for 15 years. So I think when life happens and then the children happen and then everything, you just get caught up in your role as a mother, you forget that there's still a part of you that wants to expand or grow, but not in that line of being a mother, or for me, not even in that line of being a teacher, because I've been a teacher for 22 years. There was
mhm,
still a part of me that wanted to be something else, and so I think that's how I rediscovered coaching again because I
wow.
tried it out 15 years ago when I was newly married, took a course, but what did I know about life 15 years ago? I was newly married, I
Mhm,
didn't have children, so I didn't know what the challenges were. So I'd like to think that God let all the years pass because then He wanted me to experience all of that. And in the height of the pandemic, I found Kimmy and I found you guys, and I rediscovered the course and I rediscovered my passion. And I think everything else is history. So really, sometimes something painful has to happen for you to
mhm.
realize and really look inside and find your way back to your heart, pretty much.
Yeah.
So that's
That is
that's me in the pandemic.
that is deep at the same time scary if you're just an outsider looking in, because what if it will happen to you? And for example, like I've talked to some moms about what they're going through during the pandemic, and most of them told me that I'm now looking at my child self more, which I think what Michelle mentioned a while ago, that sometimes, because we're all parents, we just zone in to the parenting, that we parent everybody. But hey, we also have that inner child that needs that
Mhm,
parenting, that needs that taking care of. So I think it's a delicate balance, but
mhm,
thank you for sharing that,
Mhm.
because I think not everyone will be very open and be very responsive to that type of question. That's something to do with their inner struggle, inner child, that inner child
mhm.
totally. So as for Aline, I won't make this heavy and talk about inner child, but I just want to lighten up a bit. But it's with this pandemic, now that we're talking about vulnerability, is this something, I don't know, like, is this something that you observed as something easier to talk about nowadays, about reaching out, being vulnerable, sharing your emotions, sharing yourself? Is this becoming easier now, you think?
During this pandemic, yes, I think so because not only me, but you see a lot of people opening up, especially with that mental health issues. Because I think at some point, everybody somehow experience, some may be light, some may be heavier, but we experience that the anxiety, especially with me, I'm a little OCD, so yes, there are things that we can control, and it's scary. So I think like with me, Polly, you know that I don't really talk about it publicly, but I reach out to, well, to you. You're my number one go-to person, you know that, and you know what I've been through. So yeah, I think it's easier now compared before. And now we have all the time in the world to talk about it.
Yeah. Mhm.
Mm,
Mhm. Now we have all the time in the world to talk about it, and we're talking about
yes.
it now. And I hope moms out there will be very happy to, ask questions, share your thoughts about how you managed technically the household and keeping your family intact in these trying times. And Anna Santos Castro said, I am honored to witness your growth, Michelle. It's a wonderful message. You're such an inspiration to many. Yes. When I look at Michelle again, and I'll belabor this, Michelle, when I look at you, I remember Mama Mary instantly. So it's like, okay, this is like, it just calms me
Ollie,
down. Like, okay. So Anna Santos Castro, that is right. I'm with you there. And Eloy said everything is God incidence. That's
Oh,
deep.
ganda.
Everything is
that's
God
so true.
incident. That is so true. So let's talk about, say, now that we've covered your family, you've talked about your kids. I just want to zero into you. Ia mentioned a while ago that doing frivolous things and doing luxurious things for mom sounds like a guilt trip. Even the manicure pedicure sounds like a guilt trip, right? If you can go back, I'd say 3 years ago, and you know that 3 years after that being 2019, 3 years before 2019, you know that there's a pandemic that will happen in 2019. What are the things you think, Ia, that you will equip yourself with or more just to be ready for this?
Oh, hirap ah. Parang pang Miss You
Mm.
naman to na tanong.
Oo, pang hard
Hindi,
rock.
hindi alcohol ah,
Miss
hindi alcohol.
Miss Year.
Hindi alcohol and t-shirt.
No, 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 no.
Siguro I will be equipped with ano talaga, patience.
Love that.
Patience and courage. Parang yun
Yeah.
talaga siguro. And yeah, patience, courage, courage enough na for my kids also na, you know, very trying season eh. Hindi lang in terms sa family. Kumbaga, all in all. So yeah,
Mhm.
siguro patience siguro and more courage. Yun talaga yung dalawang pumasok
Mm.
sa utak ko talaga.
Patience and courage.
Yeah, and understanding. Kasi di ba we all have to be kind, extra kind, especially
Right.
nowadays. So, and
So,
acceptance. Kasi, di ba reality with this pandemic, it brought out the best and the worst in people eh. So,
Yeah.
minsan hindi nagugulat ka na lang na someone you would rely on biglang hindi mo alam ang nangyari. So, parang you have to understand them also na maybe they are going through something. But,
mhm,
yeah, at siguro yun.
mhm. How about Michelle? What do you think you will equip yourself with or more?
Well, aside from hoarding alcohol and toilet paper, just kidding. Face it, you all went through that. No, no, I think same with Iya. I would have worked harder on nurturing my patients,
Oh,
and I, if I had known, I think I would have nurtured and grown my faith a lot more. and practiced surrender much earlier because it was hard to parang to discover, to relearn how to surrender last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I would have, um, if I had known 3 years ago, I probably would not have bought those shoes or the clothes
Yes.
or whatever. Because, now all of a sudden you realize you can live on 5 sets of clothes,
Yes.
one pair of shoes. You don't really need much. I would have let go of that. And I would have whispered to somebody, uy, umpisahan nyo na yung vaccine, please.
Right? Like inform them ahead of time. I'm from
Yes,
2021.
go,
Let
do
me
it.
just tell you na dapat may vaccine na. Okay, how about Alayne? Like what are the things that you wish you knew, things that you wish to equip yourself with sana before this pandemic happened?
Well, I agree with them. Patience is really, really needed at this time, most especially when school started. So,
Mm.
well, there's a reason that I'm not a teacher. So,
There you
yes,
go.
I think I need tips from Michelle.
Yeah.
It is really, really, really hard for me to, it's really different for a non-teacher to teach
Mm. Mm.
to teach kids. I'm sorry. So I think that's also the biggest thing for me. And well, 3 years ago, probably also regards to cooking.
Oh, cooking skills. Practical.
Yes, yeah, because I really don't cook before, but during this pandemic, that's what I discovered in
Mhm.
myself. So I think you can see in my Instagram, it's full of food.
And mind you, guys, the husband is
Yes.
already telling me that she has been cooking, but only Korean dishes because of the K drama. So
Yes.
I saw all the Instagram photos, and it's all about food. But watch out, they're
Korean
all
food.
Korean food.
Yes.
Oh, that's hard.
Yeah. So congratulations, that's your new learned skill, right, Aline? Okay,
Yes.
so now that you're that we have discussed so much about the pandemic, had a lot of inner reflections. How about the moving and the going forward of this? um I don't want to say this, but people are practically picking up things now and probably will be bringing it going forward, such as being extremely careful, being extremely cautious, which we know can be debilitating if it will go on and on. Like for your family, like if the pandemic is over, what do you think you'd like to keep as part of your pandemic practice at home, that you just want to, it's a newly discovered thing for the family that you just wish to continue doing? Iya. Oh, sorry, no, sorry, Iya. Another Miss Universe question for you.
Timing talaga. Sige. Do I still go first?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, please. We're all waiting, Iya.
What we will bring, siguro our deeper faith in God talaga. Parang I've always, before kasi I always think na my faith is really there na eh. But during this pandemic, I realized na it's not enough to just pray, but it's also a very, very important that I also learn about God. So, parang before kasi 'di ba parang I always say lang na nagdarasal naman ako, I go to church naman, pero with this na we can't even go to church now, right? So parang doon siya parang na-feel ko talaga na hindi pala siya enough that I just pray lang. It's also important that I know God talaga. So if meron naman kaming gagawin or dadalhin from this experience, that would be top of my list na parang a deeper relationship with God. And for my kids din also, parang nagiging curious na kasi sila eh.
Mm.
Like si Sophia one time, it was a very hard question na parang na-taken aback ako na sabi niya, um, we keep on praying naman daw that the pandemic will go away. But how come it's still here? Is God not listening? So,
Wow.
so
Mm.
parang sabi ko na lang, actually, you know what, it takes time. Pero alam mo, hindi ko alam kung paano ko pa i-explain kasi nagulat ako talaga ako sa tanong niya. So, parang sabi ko, okay, sige. Parang, so now she has her own devotion na also. I started, kasi she's now reading, and then may nagregalo sa kanya ng devotion for kids. So sabi ko, sige, come January, you start reading this na. I want you to start reading this with Iah. Kasi si Nathan does na it daily eh. So,
Mm.
parang I want that embedded in them na yung faith hindi mawala. Parang kahit ano pang meron, kahit anong mangyari, there's always a reason eh. And gusto ko makuha nila yung, you look at the other side,
Mm.
the brighter side. Kasi kahit gaano pa yung ka-depressing or what, meron talagang brighter side of it. So, yun yung gusto kong dalhin ng buong family.
Right. It's amazing how a very simple question can really make us adults think because we don't have an answer for that
Yes.
really. I'm not sure if
Mm.
I have an answer. How about Michelle? Um, what are the things that you wish to, continue doing as a family going forward? Something that you learned from this pandemic together.
I think one of the most special things for us was really coming together to pray the rosary as a family. Um, it's not something we used to do every day. There were years where we'd start it and then after a while, it wanes. But now I think aside from that, it's because so many people are affected by it. And it's harder, I think, to nurture it in boys. I'm not sure. I think the men who are watching might get upset, or my brothers who are watching. It's harder to nurture faith in boys. Sorry, Polly, you were saying couldn't hear.
And I will let you know.
Okay, sige, let me know. No, but it's harder, but I think being able to pray for others, even people you don't know,
Mm-mm.
was really something special that our family did. I think because also we're part of a community that prays for other people. So that feeling of praying for people you don't know is truly special, and I think it's something I want my son to always remember. That we
Mm.
prayed for somebody who was sick he didn't know, somebody who
Mm.
passed away, maybe the family of somebody we didn't know. Di ba, we're so used to praying for people close to us
Yes.
or our families. But now even if because we're so far apart from each other, I feel that we're so much more connected that way. So I want to always remember that. I don't want to forget that. I don't want them
Selflessness.
to forget it.
Mhm.
Oh,
No, I like how you phrase that because I think this is the only time that we know, or probably in the history, probably will have moments of it. But I think this is the only time that the world has just one thing happening at the same time, the pandemic.
yeah,
And since we cannot
that's
combat
true.
pandemic with our missiles, the usual
Hmm.
thing that we do in managing other countries, since we cannot do that, we just become one entity, which is being a human being and just trying to connect with each other and understand more. And
Hmm.
Michelle was right about that because, thank you, Michelle. I know you prayed for a lot of people, especially in the sacred space. So thank you. Thank you for doing that. And it's great that you'll be doing that going forward too, because I really think we all need to go back to just praying.
Hmm.
No, that's intense. I'm just
Yeah.
trying to reflect on the words that you said and really understand that, we're technically looking at the same thing now. Wherever you may be in this world, we have the same denominator, and that's the pandemic. How about
Yep.
Alayne? Anything that you wish to, continue doing with your family?
Well, I agree with both. So, on top of prayers, also with regards to self-reflection, because that's something that we, my husband and I, try to teach our kids. So, like, kids, they're in a bubble, right? Because
Yeah.
we're just here at home, and they need to see outside. They need to see the other side of the coin, that there are people who are suffering. Like, for example, for us, we are very um we have a home, we have food to eat, we have jobs, we still have our businesses, while other people don't. They lost their jobs. Remember, it was really a hard time when they had those ayuda thing. Some people didn't receive. So,
Yes.
you have to we always have to teach our kids that, to see the other side. So that's
Mhm.
one thing that we want to bring forward as they grow up. That our kids are probably privileged compared to the others, but it's how you what do you call this, what you do with it to help others. So that's it. I think, especially with my 9-year-old, she's beginning to understand that.
Hmm.
So I hope soon the younger one will also understand that.
So listening to, the things that you wish to continue doing, I am sure that a lot of moms also are with you on that. They'll probably be thinking about praying more. They'll probably be thinking about having, I don't know, like reflective sessions with a family. How may it be informal or formal, there will always be a deep conversation per se with everyone at
Yeah.
home from time to time, which made me feel that I think after this pandemic, everyone will be polished. We'll be looking at the world with fresh eyes. Um,
I hope
we'll be
so.
we'll be looking at
Yeah.
relationships with fresh lens. And I'm always optimistic with the kids because I really know that,
Yes.
when the kids are just guided right and they're provided the right care and love, they will just blossom and they will just be great human beings in the future and they will be leading our country eventually. So this wonderful reset that is a pandemic,
Yeah.
I would
Mm,
probably say it's
yeah.
polishing. It's a
Yes.
phase of polishing, good or bad. We've lost people along the way, and we still are, and we're still in the pandemic. So to me, I will define it myself as a moment of polishing, may it be for you or others. How about Iya? Like if if you can just like coin a word that will define the word pandemic for you, how are you looking at this now?
A blessing in disguise.
Blessing in disguise.
Yes. For me, it's that talaga na na-realize ko siya na parang it's a gift, kumbaga. Parang a part of it is a gift eh, na we have
Mm-mm.
time for our families and parang we are so fortunate to be together. Kasi not all families are together during this pandemic, di ba? Some are
Mhm.
in lockdown. So, my kids are missing their lola, especially my son. Talagang, when can we visit lola? When can lola come here? Lola's boy kasi yun. But,
Mhm.
yeah, kasi parang blessing in disguise na lang na hopefully when we all heal, the world heals, parang we will all be kinder to one another. So, na feeling ko that is the gift of
Mm,
COVID na lang din, na the time that we get to spend with our loved ones. So, para siyang blessing in disguise.
Blessing in disguise. How about Michelle?
yeah.
What are your thoughts
For
around it?
me, I would say it's an opportunity. It's an
Mm,
opportunity for us to expand. It's an opportunity for us to uplift. It's an opportunity for us to look inside. And sayang if we don't take this opportunity because it's there, it's pressing, it's necessary.
Mm,
You know, the opportunity to
mm,
reset. You know, my husband and I, we always tell each other, if you come out of this pandemic unchanged, sayang. Di ba?
Yes.
yes.
I
Yeah.
mean, parang, you know, after everything, sayang naman if we didn't make the most out of it.
Yes.
I like what Polly said. Talagang it's a reset.
Mm.
It's a real reset.
And I think without this, people will not know how to stop, really. And
Yeah.
this is the only time that it felt weird because things are not moving the way we wish them to move. And we're technically, we cannot control it. How about Elaine?
Yeah.
How do you like? What are your thoughts around it? Like we mentioned, reset. Ian mentioned about blessing and disguise, and then Michelle said about being a changed person. After, how do you look at pandemic now?
Well, I take the pandemic as a pause button. It's an opportunity, I agree with Michelle, to um, reset and, you know, life. Life is, we're so busy before the
Mm,
pandemic. So
mm-hmm.
most of us would wish like, oh, I wish to have a vacation. I wish to rest. Well, here it is.
Mm.
Yes.
Yes, here it is. So I think it's too much. It's already a year.
Careful what
We
you
can
wish
go
for
back.
naman doon, di ba?
Careful what you
Right,
pray for. Yeah.
right.
Well, here in Cebu, we actually thought it was just 2 weeks. Then
Yes.
it extended for a month. Was still okay.
Mhm.
And then 2 months, 3 months, and like, okay, this is getting on my nerves now. Yeah, but with that, the positive side is that we learned that life is fragile. Just like
Yeah.
the Infinity War, you just one snap,
Yes.
everything changes. Yeah.
In Infinity War mode, but you are right about that. Um, because again, you don't have control, and in one snap, things can really, really change. Before we even wrap up, I just want to make sure that our viewers and everyone watching this can get to follow you should they resonate with your statements and want to discuss more about it. Or perhaps you can promote your businesses because I know you're all moms and entrepreneurs at the same time. Um, I'll start with Ia again. And he was like, look at me. Okay, it's me. I'm not drinking water. I'm ready. Yeah, go ahead and tell everyone how to get in touch with you.
Okay, so you can follow me on Instagram. It's This Mommy Diary. And Iah Arquiza, you can follow that also. And for the
Mhm.
businesses, for Davao people, they know naman na sa my friends. Parang you can visit Nailandia and Bare Naked sa mga malls. And ano pa ba? My husband, our restaurant Penongs. So, you can, sana mga taga Davao, you can visit that also. I think it's in Manila na, near MOA also. Meron ng franchise doon din. So, there.
Thank you. Michelle.
Yes. Well, you can follow Teacher Mama Thrives on Instagram. And then for anyone who's looking for an online program for your preschoolers, now that you can study from anywhere in the world and anywhere in the Philippines, please do visit Young Creative Minds Preschool. And then what else? Oh, I'm running a pilot run of the Mama Huddle. It's a coaching group session for mothers. So I will launch the first real group. I have a pioneer batch now, and some of them are watching. Hello, guys! But
Ooh.
we will have our first real batch of it's like a mother support group in March. So I will definitely
Ah,
promote.
Thank you, Michelle. How about
Thanks,
Elaine?
Paul.
You're welcome. How about Elaine?
All right.
Anything you
Uh,
wish to promote?
okay, you can follow our page in Facebook, Oilala Cebu, and also on Instagram. And
Ang cute
Yes.
ng name.
Yeah,
Oh,
Iah
yeah.
actually very sexy. Honeymoon face.
I love it.
You got this from the honeymoon phase, I guess.
Yeah, we did. And then of course,
What else? Mhm.
we also have another page, a Seabay Guest House. So when the pandemic is over and you want to come over to Cebu
Mhm.
and enjoy the beach, follow Seabay Guest House,
And Seabay Guest House is in Camotes.
Camotes Island.
You should go there, Michelle and Iya. Camotes Island is like
Yeah.
peak.
Talaga, sige. Oh, can
So
we add
any
lang pala for ano,
uh-huh.
sorry. Are you
Go
done na,
ahead.
Alayne? Sorry, sige.
Go ahead.
Mm.
Um, we want to promote also the Well-Being Boost
Yes,
program.
please
Yes.
So it's a
do.
monthly
Please do.
program. So to anyone who's, you want to, if you're feeling lost and if you're, parang you just want some me time, ako every time I promote it, I just say it's the perfect me time for
Mm.
us. So you can just follow Well-Being Boost program on Instagram also.
Well-being boost. I think Michelle is also running the same, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Actually, Polly, when you said earlier about um, being a prayer warrior, one of the words I think that we want to remember for this year is to be a well-being warrior.
Yeah.
So that's what the Well-Being Boost program is trying to do. It's trying to change, one heart, one life at a time, one well-being
One heart, one life.
participant at a time to uplift everybody's well-being. So we all come
Mhm.
out of this much better,
Man, I
changed,
like
and
that.
in a better state.
How about anything else before we wrap up? Before I proceed to the just like the final statement from everyone. Now that you were talked about like motherhood, parenting, etc. Probably I don't know, probably this generation, the generation that we're in, the generation of moms that we're in, is redefining that definition of how it is to be a mom. So, with one word, if someone will ask you being a mom is, what will be your answer now? If I'll ask Alayne, like being a mom, how do you define that now?
Uh, being a mom. Well, probably it's the definition of unconditional love.
Okay, well, we're like all teary eyed here, but that's kasi ang hirap talaga mag
Yes, it's
unconditional love.
very it's the most challenging role, but it's also the most fulfilling one.
Yes. True.
I don't know how to top that, but unconditional love, definitely. How about Ia? How do you define being a mom now after, after this pandemic?
Being a mom, for me, the first word that came to mind was sacred.
Mm.
So, yeah, parang they were given to us for a reason eh. So,
It's a
you are
sacred
blessed.
role.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you, Ia. And Michelle, lastly, how do you define being a mom now?
Now, I would say being a mom is a cherished privilege for me. Truly a blessing.
I'm just trying to absorb all your words. Unconditional love, sacred, and what was it, Michelle? Sorry.
A
Cherish.
cherished privilege.
It's a cherished privilege. And I hope that those words will also resonate to a lot of moms watching out there. You can definitely forward this show to any moms or even to parents and, probably learn from it and continue to interact with us. You can follow Alayne, Ia, and Michelle in their social media accounts. And yeah, this has been a wonderful, wonderful time with the three of you. I hope I hope you can sleep soundly and really sleep well tonight after this discussion.
Parang na-alive eh,
Thank
no?
you. It was fun, Polly. Thank
Yes,
you.
thank you,
Michelle, thank
Polly.
you, Alayne,
Thank
and
you for
thank you,
having
Wait,
Iah.
wait
Yes,
lang. I
yes,
just want
Iah.
to share something kasi pumasok bigla sa utak ko eh. So feeling ko I need to share it lang. Parang I read
Sure.
yesterday na parang most parents are saying na ay kawawa naman yung anak ko kasi they lived in this pandemic, ganito na parang paano sila palalakihin na ganito yung pandemic. But I forgot kung saan ko nabasa. But that's the thought. And then, ang sinabi doon na instead of looking at it that way, the challenge to us now is, kasi parang God doesn't make mistakes, right? So, they are exactly given to us during this time. So there must be a reason. So it is up to us, moms and parents, baka ma-open yung mga daddy dyan na puro mommy.
Oo, be careful.
Yeah, di ba? So parang it's up to us parents daw to nurture them. Parang this is the perfect time to nurture them, to parang give them what they need so that when the world reopens, they will be good people, they will be good leaders, and just make the world a better place. Very cliche man siya, but ang ganda lang. Nung nabasa ko yun, parang
Mm.
na-touch ako, na-teary-eyed talaga ako. Parang oo nga, no? Parang we are so used to looking kasi na kawawa naman, walang kalaro, walang ganito, parang bakit ngayon
Mhm.
siya pinanganak. But then again, God doesn't make mistakes. So,
Mhm.
perfect timing. Di ba parang right time,
Yes.
right place. So, they
You're
are
right.
given to us this time. So, there must be a reason. So, it's up to us na to uplift them and to nurture them. So, yun,
Great.
gusto ko lang i-share. Kasi ang
No,
ganda
that's
lang, nakalimutan ko lang talaga
that's
saan. But it's,
beautiful.
That's
No, if you can
nice.
find it, yeah, just share it to us. We have
yes,
our
yes, I
own group
will.
chat
I will.
Mm-hmm.
book.
Yes.
But it has been a very wonderful. I just want this to go on and on, but ladies, you all have to sleep. And the
Okay lang.
manufacturer out there needs to recharge. And I hope you can join me again next time. But thank you so much, Michelle. Thank you, Iah,
Thank
and thank you,
you.
Ellen, for your
Thank you, Polly.
Thank
thank
you
you.
for
Had
having
fun.
Thank
me.
you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Nice meeting you, Alayne.
Nice meeting you too, Ian,
Meeting you,
Michelle.
Elaine. Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, see you. Good
Bye.
night.
Good night.
Bye.
So there you have it. Thank you